And of course, there are physiological barriers, hearing loss, temporary hearing loss, language proficiency, cognitive development. We've talked about those. Well, in solution, we want to stop noise intrusion. So yes, we do want good acoustics. We want outside noises out. These aren't good windows. Of course, double pane windows are very expensive. So often outside noises are because the materials used to keep outside are quite expensive. Cut reverberation time, reduce echo, sound absorbing materials, acoustic ceilings, reduce background noise of your heating, ventilating, and air conditioning units. Now you don't want an anechoic chamber. Have you ever been in one? It's the creepiest thing. It's total sound absorption. You say something and your voice just falls on the floor, right there. Because we do want some bounce. We do want some bounce. We don't want a huge echo, but we have to have springiness in a room or it's not alive. But we don't want too much bounce or we get overlap masking. But no bounce, there's no sound. It's like you're in a cocoon. It's crazy. So we want to reduce student-generated noise, provide spoken voice levels, sound levels that will give a good signal to noise ratio. And the science is we have to improve extrinsic redundancy. Now, we can improve redundancy, extrinsic redundancy, and the signal by being physically close, as I discussed. But you can't be physically close to everyone in a room. It's just not possible. So for a child with hearing loss, how many times do people write down preferential seating? Like, you can really do that? How can you do that? I mean, the child isn't glued to the chair. You're not glued to the floor. And even if you're preferred and I stay here, what about the rest of you? And what if there's a lot of dynamism in the room? There's movement. You're here, you're studying here, you're in a group here, you're doing individual study. How do you manage that? It's just a nonsense recommendation. So we might talk about strategic seating, but then you have to be strategic. What does strategic mean in this room? Because what's the room like? What kind of movement is there? Where does instruction occur? Does one-on-one instruction occur? Does whole group instruction occur? Does peer learning occur? Where and how does that occur? How can we be strategic? Does that make sense? And that involves a conversation, right? Preferential, everyone just kind of makes up what that means. Often they say it means you're in the front of the room. Okay, so that assumes this is where the teacher is, and this is the front. Who knows where the front is? But so let's even assume that's the case. So you're here. Everything interesting happens behind you. That is extreme isolation. You're isolated. You have no idea what's going on in this room. So if you have fixed positions, which are highly unlikely in this day and age, at the very least, you want the child not facing a window because of the glare, but at least halfway down. So, and they're going to have a personal FM anyway, they better have, but at least so they're in the middle of the room and have an idea of scanning the room, what's going on, who's doing what, good view of the room, because interesting stuff happens there. You don't want to put the child where they don't have any access to what's going on. Think strategic, and strategic will vary depending on the room and the teaching. So the personal worn FM, as